15 playoff slots throughout the first 19 races of the season, and heading, of course, through last week, our 20th, a majority of these spots have been filled. To be exact, 12 of them. That leaves us with 3 positions remaining to determine tonight. 150 laps, 150 miles will separate our final playoff drivers from those who don't make the cut. The playoff cut line is 11 points, and there are 5 drivers within a race's worth of points who can make it in if their competitors have a disastrous time. And outside of the top 20, anyone who wins can lock themselves in with just one good race. The Magic Mile will prove a heartbreaker or, of course, a title run maker. It's either or for the Integrity Ignite Series field tonight. Welcome back to FTN Broadcasting for our 21st race of the 2025 season. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. Tonight is expected to be a thriller. Not only is it a venue we've been to before that has given us great racing, close finishes, and hectic racing to say the least, maybe a few cautions expected to be in the mix. It's also a venue that has given way to a style of racing that is not dependent on gimmick. If you know the track, you will be the better driver. More than 30 drivers have packed the circuit tonight. As a matter of fact, 37 are on the racing circuit. In practice and qualifying, we've seen a majority of which. Blake Cannon on the way, while DJ Stagner holds the provisional pole position. Jack Drucker now on the move. As regular season points leader, Michael Araya runs second. Michael is going to be competing against Thomas Bresci for that honor today. Neither of them are on the track any longer for qualifying, but keep this in mind, they both can win the regular season title today. It depends on who has the better race. Drucker warming himself up with a minute on the clock as Blake Cannon jumps up to the top of the board. Cannon is now going for his second lap, and he's already on top. He's got a quick time now, coming in at a 29.938. Blake already has that best position of everyone by 79 1/1000ths of a second. Cannon drops in another half-tenth. He's now a tenth above the field with the best lap time of the day. Blake Cannon with a 29.888. And now the 3-time race winner in this series, fresh off finding victory again in the Octane Series, is back on top. Cannon by more than a tenth. And there is no match. Ethan Lane now is on his second lap, and he's looking to see whether or not he can rival the performance of the Roadhouse Racing team. For Lane, it won't be enough. He will take himself up to the top 10, but only briefly, and just got knocked off by Ronnie Osmer and Braxton Deweese. Qualifying has concluded, and it's going to be Cannon at the top of the board. Blake puts down the quickest lap of all, and the only one of which to be quicker than the 28.9 second barrier. 34 drivers take a time, 37 are registered, the only times not taken: Nick Tarbuck, Boomer Logan, and Andrew Schaub. Will Reichert is on the way in the number 67 here. You see him moving, and he'll be one of the many to take to these final moments of practice and preparation. Currently above the cut line and not locked in, DJ Stagner, Tom Wetmore, and Ronnie Osmer. Immediately behind, Jacob Fife, Nicholas Ward, Braxton Deweese. So we got a former champion, league owner, a race winner in the Octane Series, and of course DJ Stagner, another former champ, just ahead of the cut. Doesn't matter how well you've done in the past, nobody is guaranteed to make it in if you don't have a race victory. The only driver to lock in with that one is Nick Tarbuck, who is second in the overall point system, third now after the JTM guys got past him. qualifying for one of our biggest races of the season car count wise, an unexpected track at an unexpected time. We are more than 2/3 of the way through the campaign, but the Ignite series keeps on hitting, and tonight Blake Cannon and Ethan Lane proved that with quantity comes the quality. Lane's second lap bumped him back up from outside the top 10 to second place. He'll take the outside pole position while Cannon sets the quickest lap of all, just about 11 thousandths of a second below the 29.9 second cut, officially coming through in first. DJ Stagner then from there will be in the third position. DJ is poised to lock up the 13th spot in the playoffs tonight. Matthew Thunhorst is looking now to lock up the regular season championship. He is 9 points ahead of Thomas Bressi for that honor. It looks like fourth place is where he's going to be. Jared Davis fifth, Michael Araya sixth. All six of the drivers you're seeing here are currently above the cut line. Seventh place will go Jacob Fife as he looks to fight his way in with Cody Smith. Then just beside him, Cody in eighth. Ronnie Osmer, Braxton DeWeese, and Tom Wetmore, all of which now within the top dozen, running 9th, 10th, and 12th, are fighting each other to make it through. Osmer sits 15th in points, Sam Nieto 11th on the grid. You'll then have 13th in Nicholas Ward, 14th in Justin Morton, Blake Gordon in 15th, and Vinny Tigner P16. Tyler Hensley and Hunter Madalenis go down to 18th as the top 20 is wrapped up by Sebastian Miller and Thomas Bressi, who looks for the regular season title tonight. From 25th on down, Jack Drucker, Ryan Potter, Casey Shue, Gael Brooks, and Josh Christman. To wrap up the top 30, Kyle Cooper, Brent McClendon, Brandon Bernhardt, Josh Gallagher, and Andrew Hamilton. Still 7 more drivers in one of our biggest fields of the year, as Matt Sizzler starts in 31st, Steve Durham 32nd, Will Riker 33rd, Cal Volarski 34th, Nick Tarbuck, Boomer Logan, and lastly, in the 37th place tonight, Andrew Schaub. We have a packed house. 19 rows, 18 are filled, and the playoff picture is alive and well, particularly in the top 10, where you've got some guys who are above the cut and below the cut racing right against each other. It's a big race and a big pole position for Blake Cannon. He once again finds himself at the head of the field, and the 27 team will lead him to green once more. For Cannon, who's got himself locked in, it's his second pole of the season to accompany 3 race victories to this point. Less than a minute remaining now for final practice, and we'll take one more look downstairs. Matthew Thunhorst not on the track. Our eyes will then go toward Thomas Bressi. Bressi is only 9 points away from the championship lead, and over the past month, while he has not led the championship through any of those days, more than 30 to this point, if you even go beyond the beginning of July, Bressi has remained within 25 points of the title lead all throughout. Neither Thunhorst nor Bressi have really been able to find themselves a race where they are apart from each other. Multiple times they have raced for position directly for long periods of time, and even when one driver has an off race, it seems that they have both faltered at the very same time. The regular season championship race is on tonight, and it will go down between 2 teammates. They are now the only 2 drivers officially eligible, while it will be Nick Tarbuck and Ethan Lane fighting for third in regular season points. Bressi, he's going to try to go out there and storm the field from 20th up to beat his teammate who qualified 4th, Matthew Thunhorst, with the advantage. The grandstands are packed, and with good reason. Fans in the chat room, if you got a favorite driver you're looking forward to rooting for, let us know. This is the big one. A lot of guys already have their championship opportunity locked in, 12 of 15, but you've got very good drivers who are both above and below the cut line, some of which are only up there by the skin of their teeth. Tom Wetmore, after misfortune late last week, finds himself 2 points above the cut. Number 69 team today will start in 12th place, Roadhouse Racing grabbing the pole and also having a top 15 starter in Wetmore. Tom is going to have to outdo Jacob Fife, who is his closest competitor in points. Fife qualifies 7th, always good at these out-of-character sort of ovals. And, well, he's done great strategy-wise at the other ovals, say for instance intermediate like Las Vegas. But in the Octane Series 2023, Fife came to victory at this track. He knows what it's like to get it done at the Magic Mile, and he will be a tough opponent for Tom Wetmore. DJ Stagner is 45 points above the cut line and doesn't come in with reason to be concerned. He almost has a full race's worth of points above the bump, so as long as he doesn't finish dead last or anywhere near it, effectively, a top 25 will guarantee him playoff credibility. Ronnie Osmer, by the skin of his teeth, is on the bubble right now, 2 points behind Tom Wetmore and 2 positions ahead of him in qualifying. You see the 69 directly diagonally behind him. The 55 crew, Osmer, getting the season off with a bang, a podium at Daytona, coming away with 2 top 3s so far this season. He'll have to watch out for Fife, Nicholas Ward, and the man right beside him, your 2024 champion, Braxton DeWeese, who struggled through the first quarter of the season, has picked it back together as of late, and is looking to make one last run when it matters most. Blake Cannon and Ethan Lane are ready to do battle again, 1 lap remaining until they can begin the fights. Conditions from Loudon, New Hampshire, pretty mild. 73 degrees Fahrenheit, the ambient temperature. And the track temp is only 86%. Here's the kicker. The humidity is ramped up. Going to be coming in at about 74% relatively speaking. Winds are southwestbound at 14 miles an hour. Temperature is good. It's pretty normal, all things considered. But everything else is a little more hectic. We'll see if that ends up really playing a big role tonight for all these drivers here, or if instead they can get away without all too much concern. It's the time, of course, everyone's been waiting for since February. 21 racing weeks and the better part of 30 weeks of anticipation have led us back to this point. The summer stretch is almost at its close, and it will begin again with our next and final fall in the Ignite Series, the playoffs from here to October. One more lap, we're going to get them all settled in. It looks like we've got, in essence, every one of our 37 starters. There is Andrew Schaub. Nick Tarbuck has an immense challenge ahead of him. Again, 3rd in championship points coming into today. And we're still waiting it out here. Caution is going to be extended for another lap. Tarbuck, his situation is interesting. He's been able to hold off Ethan Lane even without a win for 3rd in points. The advantage he currently holds is only 10 points, however. Been tricky. Tarbuck to this point, he's only missed 1 start, 19 races to Lane's 16. And as of recent, Nick has been able to go effectively toe-to-toe with Lane. Ethan's had a few bobbles. You might remember Portland didn't go his way. Had that speeding penalty, a critical one at that. And immediately after the fact next week, couldn't come through for the win. And then, of course, Michigan. Michael Lariah was able to go for 2 wins in 3 races. And Tarbuck has picked up the pieces with podiums. If Lane's off of victory lane, Nick Tarbuck still holds on to the points edge. 1 to green now, and it looks like this is official. There will be at least 2 battles on the racetrack at all times, all night long. The battle for the regular season championship, the battle, of course, to make the playoffs, and then there's the battle for the race lead. We don't know who exactly will be battling for the race win. And if it happens to be some of those playoff guys, or it happens to be Thunhorst and Bresci, you might just see the aggression ramp up that much more. The Magic Mile is a once-a-year destination for the Integrity Racing League, and with one more chance to make it, oh my goodness! They're going to have to throw caution already. What just happened? very confused as the caution flies, and we got a bunch of drivers running into pit road. Something's telling me it's either a server failure, which means we're going to have to postpone the race temporarily. And I think that's the case. Yes, everyone's coming in at once. So the green flag will not go off as intended. Everyone comes down to pit road. And it looks like the call on the field is we're going to wait this one out. We got a problem. And we're going to try to see what's going on. Caution to the field, red flag in the sim. We are under a session swap. So we got a little bit of time to make sure everything is going well here. And while we do that, race control coming into the broadcast booth, so we'll get a word with the number 69 team of Tom Wetmore. Give us just a moment to pull him through, as your first interview of the day won't be with a driver on the racetrack, but instead with some cause for concern. We're stopping by right now and figuring out what's going on. Tom Wetmore in the broadcast booth, waiting to get the ball rolling here, and looks like the green flag postponed. What's going on?
Yeah, we just heard from race control for all the viewers hanging out there. We're going to have a small technical delay due to some server challenges we're working through right now. So we'll have a new session here going up live here in the next few minutes. But in the meantime, small technical delay. Need to get the field set appropriately. That way we can go green flag racing tonight at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So apologies for the delays though in the audience. David, I really appreciate what you do. And thanks to all the boys from Next Level Racing giving us some extended coverage tonight. As we get ready to go racing in New Hampshire.
Well, it looks like at least we'll get the ball rolling in a few minutes here. By any chance, do you know what the specific problem was? Would it have affected the drivers severely?
Yeah, I mean, so naturally tonight we have some pretty significant playoff implications. So with some settings in the server, it was going to make a change where if somebody were involved in an accident, they could be adversely affected, and potentially something that's not fair to other playoff contenders. So in the spirit of fairness, not just to the playoff contenders, but to all of our Integrity Racing League members and affiliates, we want to make sure we get the session set up per the rulebook correctly, and we'll have that all ready to go here in about 10 minutes.
Sounds good. And one final thing, qualifying, expecting to see that reset?
No, we're looking forward to doing what we can to withhold the integrity of qualifying with Blake Cannon, the number 27 Cannon Creations car on pole, and the number 6 car of Ethan Lane holding down our front row on the outside. So that's assuming that we can withhold the integrity of that order, going to make it really interesting with guys like Ronnie Osmer, Jacob Fife, Braxton DeWeese, and myself all within 5 positions right on the cut line for the playoffs tonight. So hopefully we can maintain that integrity and have some really exciting racing tonight.
With that said, we'll get back to business in a few minutes' time and, of course, join you and the rest of the field when the new session comes up. Tom Wetmore, broadcast booth for race control purposes this time. Thank you again for stopping by and letting us know what's going on.
Thanks, Dave. Hopefully we get to talk to you in a driver capacity later tonight.
Wetmore is one of the many who is fighting again for a critical opportunity to make it into the playoffs. He is 2 points above the cut line and 13 up on the next driver on the outside looking in. That is Jacob Fife. We're waiting now to get that new session on its way, but one more reminder, at the back of the field is Andrew Schaub here, and 37 drivers are set to race tonight. Whether or not all of them decide to come out now, well, not quite sure. We're going to get that official confirmation momentarily. But until then, the starting grid today is one to watch. That is without a doubt the level of talent in the field. And it looks like right now everyone's emptied out because there is no one in the server. But again, that qualifying lineup, Blake Cannon, Ethan Lane, DJ Stagner, Matthew Thunhorst, and Jared Davis all in the top 5. That's the way it's going to stay when we get back to work momentarily. New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the 1 mile circuit in Loudon, hosts your regular season finale for the Integrity Ignite Series. If you're enjoying tonight's coverage, well, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit better when we go racing. Until then, this is the first of 2 races on the week. The next one for the Ignite Series, of course, will be next Monday. The Octane Series races tomorrow and settles their regular season chase. They will be going to the virtual Iowa Speedway That, of course, is going to be their regular season finale as well. The Octane Series playoff margin is pretty tight. Currently, you've got 3 drivers within 5 points of the cut line, 4 within 20. Here's a look now at the Ignite Series playoff picture to give you a visual as to who is where and who has to be worried. Tom Wetmore, who we just spoke to, lost about 20 points last week thanks to a late race wreck that took him firmly out of contention. The problem for him was, well, too little time, and he found himself far too behind on leaders. With that said, he's still 2 points up on the cut, and the final driver there, Ronnie Osmer. Ronnie having some solid runs as of late to pull himself from under the cut line to right on the needle. Braxton Weiss has been up and down with some top 10 runs, a few outside of the top 15 as well. He is right there, 28 points back. Nicholas Ward, 26 behind. He is a full-time racer in both series. He had some early flubs this season in the Ignite Series, particularly at Daytona, involved in the biggest wreck of the season, all things considered. The last few races have pulled him up, and he's got a chance to go playoff hunting for both the Monday and Tuesday nights. Jacob Fife, the number 36 by this point last season, had 1 victory under his belt and finally snapped the winless streak through 2023 and got his first checkered flag on the Monday Night Tour. Has not been able to come back for what would be his 3rd, however, and Jacob sits 11 points under as Sebastian Miller and Casey Shue, underdogs, remain within 50 points of the title battle. DJ Stagner has the highest likelihood of locking in overall. Everyone else, to each their own. That's the way things are looking in the Ignite Series playoffs as we are set to swap sessions. So, we'll be right back. You're watching coverage live on FTN Broadcasting. I'm David Croyton. I'll be bringing you through the action from beginning to end. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back after this. You're watching the New Hampshire Motor Speedway and the Integrity Ignite Series. Race number 21, the regular season finale.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Welcome to the Underdog Racing Podcast, where we talk to NASCAR drivers from all over the great country of America. Each week, We chat about the latest races, share stories from the track, and get to know the drivers behind the wheel. We break down the action, hear from drivers about their experiences, and dive into what drives them to keep racing. Whether you're a longtime NASCAR fan or just curious about the sport, this is the place for you. So tune in to the Underdog Racing Podcast, your inside look at the world of NASCAR. Catch us every Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire. 5 minutes left in practice. Qualifying has been decided upon, and so our starting grid will be restored momentarily. The first 15 laps of this race have been stricken from the record. From here on out, we've got 135 laps to go as we are back in New Hampshire. Welcome back to the regular season finale. A lot of returning tonight. Of course, returning to a former track, returning to the regular season finale, and now with this session swap out of the way, we can return to what matters most, bringing you the full picture. I'm, of course, returning as well. David Kreutz commentating and producing live on FTN. Thank you, Chris DeWeese, for stopping by. The hope for the number one team is an outright win. Starting up alongside some of those playoff rivals is going to mean a whole lot. And here's Vinny Tigner in the number 12. Vinny coming off of his best ever SNT race. I mean, a ridiculous drive. Third to second last week in Texas. Could have been his, and it was just barely being beaten out in the final moments that made all the difference here. There's Ryan Potter in the number 99. Ryan going up alongside Jack Drucker, getting themselves back to a little bit more comfortability. The racetrack is different, mind you. Conditions have ever so slightly switched up. It's actually cooler on the racetrack with an ambient temperature of 70 degrees and currently a track temp of only 78. Relative humidity is higher than it's been all night long, though, coming in at now 85%. Winds are northwest bound at 7 miles an hour. So, relatively speaking, again, the temperature has been less and less of an issue as the night's progressed, but I think it's going to be that humidity factor and maybe a little bit of the winds, although I don't think that'll be too much of a concern. It'll be those extraneous factors that really play into how strategy goes down. With 15 less laps on the table for our strategy calls tonight, it also means that we might see a little bit of a different formula. A one-stop race is very much achievable now because you would go only about 65 to 70 miles on a run and then come into pit road and finish the job with another 65 to 70. Usually when we go for 120-ish lap races, anywhere from 110 to 130, those are events where we're going at mile-and-a-half tracks, which means that you're going for upwards of 100 miles each way. If we're racing for 150 miles, then you're going 75 miles on the first stint if you're going for 50 laps. So, here at New Hampshire, the fuel load isn't going to be the biggest of concerns. I think everyone's going to be comfortable in that sense, but it's going to come down to how these drivers decide to work their tires. And well, we haven't seen it just yet. One of the optimal grooves that we've seen recently in iRacing at New Hampshire is going down to the apron and really dropping all the way to the bottom to cut as much distance as possible. It hasn't come into play too much during practice, but if a driver has the speed and the will to do so, they can absolutely cut under the apron line. They are free to do it. We saw it last year, and that was the winning call in the Octane Series, particularly as Ethan Lane was able to work it better than anyone else. Here comes another down the apron, but that's going to be Matt Sizzler to pit road. Justin Morton with that clutch victory a few weeks ago, a road course ace, punching his ticket at Portland, now finding himself with a few more laps of preparation. He's already in the playoffs. Tonight for him is not a concern. There are a lot of other drivers who haven't yet been able to lock themselves in where it is an immense worry. Morton still chasing after Michael Larai here. These laps not going to count for all too much, and the times are still pretty quick. The fastest time set by any one driver is Cody Smith. Smith put down a 29.86, which would have been good for pole position if he laid it down in our previous session. However, again, cooler track means that there's more to take advantage of, so Cody's lap time is faster, partially because of those conditions. The weather is different. Few seconds left on the clock. Smith in final practice with the fastest time of all. Now that's the quickest time set of anyone today. Blake Cannon not too far behind. Of course, in practice, he won't be your leading man, but in qualifying, he'll be on the outside front row and only have to go alongside another in Ethan Lane. Cannon, as a matter of fact, taking it to P1. Lane on the outside, and we are set now to organize your starting grid one more time. 135 laps lie ahead as the field is set to go to green. All 37 drivers have re-registered, and your qualifying lineup is set. It'll be Cannon, Lane, Stagner, positions 1, 2, 3. And then you'll have fourth in Jared Davis, fifth in Michael Araya. As we, of course, saw before, they're ready to do it again. Ethan Lane is looking for his 6th win on the Ignite Series season. While he's racked up 8 to this point in the Tuesday night tour, it's been a little bit more challenging for him to be the dominant figure on Mondays. There's been a few other drivers with multiple wins so far, particularly Blake Cannon. Cannon, again, already has himself 3, as does Hunter Madalenis. Michael Araya come alive as of late with another race victory, and that means that the 44 crew now holds 2, and then you'll have a litany of drivers including Thunhorst, Bressie, Morton, Drucker, Davis, Cody Smith, and Sam Nieto, all who have 1 win apiece. So dominance, of course, is one thing. Ethan Lane has been able to, by wins anyway, and by those statistics, dominate the field, but consistency has counted more than anything. Your top 3 in points have between them 2 race wins coming into tonight. The victory is a huge bonus, and of course, everyone wants that checkered flag, but 1 win will never outweigh 10 top 5s, and that, of course, is the goal number, I think, for everyone going into the regular season. And a few drivers have gotten pretty close to reaching it, some of which have gone above and beyond. Matthew Thunhorst has, to this point, the highest top 5 ratio of the season, and top 10 ratio as well. He's gone 75% on top 10s and currently has himself with 8 top 5s. Lane has 9, so it's going to be real close. Among those who have started for every race, Thunhorst has the highest percentage. Lane is right there with them. Ethan can go for his 10th top 5 of the season tonight. Blake Cannon, of course, is looking for his 4th win. Here we go again. Regular season on the line. Time to fight to go for the championship. And it's go big or go home. We're underway for the Magic Mile. Cannon blocks Lane. Race lead is on, and so is the fight further back. Ronnie to the inside on Tom Wetmore and Braxton DeWeese, and this is the hottest of hot spots. All the while, the race lead is already going to be contentious. Ethan Lane has been working the apron to this point. He's already side by side going into these corners. You can see ducking down low, trying to get that groove, and the rhythm is with both drivers so far. Ethan already trying that extra step down. Through 3 and 4, a little bit of a swap. DJ Stagner remains in 3rd. Ronnie Osmer has gotten himself up into the top 10. He, DeWeese, and company all up there in the fight. As it's your first caution of the day, yellow flag is out. Looking to see what happened. Josh Gallagher running away from it, as is Andrew Schaub and Steve Durham. So the caution's flown. Let's see why. It appears an issue at the back of the field. The 21 to Durham losing a few spots to fall to 36th. Up and down the circuit, everyone's gone for these first few laps. Not too many issues immediately. Durham up the track. He gets loose and then hits Matt Sizzler. So that's the yellow flag. Durham into Sizzler. The 93 gets away. Durham spins. First incident of the day, 4 laps in out of now 135. So, Steve will get back with us here. We are pacing. Steve drops to the bottom, and a few others, including Matt Sizzler, opt to pit road early, but it's going to be a consensus decision to stay out for all those who are leading. It's going to leave Cannon, Lane, Stagner, Thunhorst, and Jared Davis all up and ahead. And so now they'll get back to business. Michael Araya stays in 6th, Fife in 7th. It looks like your top 8 drivers remain in identical positions. Everyone who started in the top 10 remains there. Biggest movers so far are going to be 20th up to 15th. That's Thomas Bressie. Bressy getting up there in the hopes to contend and fight against, of course, his championship-leading teammate and rival, Matthew Thunhorst. Thunhorst is still P4, hasn't gained anything just yet, but little to gain when you're that far in front relative to the guy you're chasing after the regular season title for. 9 points is the difference. Advantage Thunhorst. Second row stacks up the same. So, of course, does your front row. Two by two. 36 drivers taken to the green flag. Boomer Logan prematurely retiring on the day. He will find himself back on those race control duties. We saw him racing last week. He got some top 10 time at Texas. Did a great job at the number 94. Cannon and Lane. Second take. Same battle. Green flags out. Blake Cannon with the jump. He is back on the way, and he leaves no doubt as to who's going to lead into one. Watch further back. Osmer with Fife. DeWeese there with Tom Wetmore. Wetmore shoots to the apron. 3 wide fast. Oh, contact! Cannon, your leader, up the circuit. Caution is out. Blake Cannon. And already significant problems for the 27. His back end plowed up into the turn 3 wall. Watch this. With Ethan Lane behind him, the Cannon Creation Supra. Contact into 3. Lane goes up the track. Stagner gets through. DJ Stagner, new race leader after contact for Blake Cannon. And that's going to be detrimental for his fight for the win. Again, locked into the playoffs. His race is not over. But a big move as Ethan Lane falters. As does Cannon. Ethan will head down a pit road, and he's going to end up at the back of the line as a result. DJ Stagner takes the lead. Misfortune for the 6 and the 27 gives DJ, the inaugural Ignite Series champion, another chance for his first win on the season. DJ to this point is 8th in the championship with 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s. Looking to add to those tallies, and of course, putting a victory lane sticker on that number 64 is the end goal at least once this season. He did it last time around for his championship winning hunt in 2023 and was able to come to victory lane in 2024. Will be the 3rd consecutive year of him doing so. Thomas Bressy drops back slightly now to 16th. As a result of the shuffle, Matthew Thunhorst, though, gets up to 2nd. So big news for the number 8 team as we spend the majority of our opening 10 laps under caution. Two by two, drivers in formation. Michael Araya, 6th to 3rd, up now 3. 8th to 4th, up 4, Cody Smith. So those are our biggest movers inside the top 10 who have been there from jump. Up 6 places now is Justin Morton, who takes it up from 14th place to 8th. Look toward lap 11. Jared Davis just ahead now. Number 19 is with Ronnie Osmer. Osmer is ahead of Tom Wetmore. Wetmore is still ahead of Braxton DeWeese. It's going to come down to Osmer and Wetmore trying to get away from Fife and DeWeese here. Jacob is ahead of Braxton. still trying to be the final driver to punch his ticket in. Green flag's out. DJ Stagner gets the jump. He's got a car length and a half shades of Blake Cannon. Now he's hoping he doesn't get wrecked. Michael Araya dropping to the bottom. This one's for second. Matthew Thunhorse takes it up to that outer groove, and the thing about that is the caution is out again. It's going to involve, among others, Gael Brooks. It looks like Brooks having some damage to begin with, so watch this. Sam Nieto close to Brandon Bernhardt. Nieto right there with Will Riker. Sam in the number 2, taking it down the track. This is the third caution of the day and the third consecutive. Sam was on the bottom, at least relative to Brandon Bernhardt, but he wasn't all the way down on the inside of the track. Will Riker catches him, comes up, and contact. That sends them both through. Brooks got by. He had damage to begin with, and the yellow flag is out. Take a look on board from Will Reichardt's perspective to see it all come down. For both Nieto and Reichert, significant damage as the caution is out. Here's the iRacing pace car, and as soon as it was deployed, now the field knew it was a slowdown again. Now, it leads as we come out of turns 3 and 4. DJ Stagner is advantageous. Michael Araya still holds on to second here. He just barely got the edge on the inner groove on Matthew Thunhorst, and that was all he needed. Thunhorst inside, and he will take the New Hampshire Roval chicane. An interesting decision. Not something we see all too often. New Hampshire, yes, one of those oval circuits with an interior road course. Not seen on the schedule like the Charlotte Roval is or previously Daytona's road racing circuit, but New Hampshire Motor Speedway inside this 1-mile venue is a road track. For use at times with regional events, I would say not national endurance racing, but you do see smaller series come through. At a big-time capacity, the NASCAR Cup Series and the National Series use the 1-mile oval, although yes, there is a twist and turn configuration that doesn't seem too much use. 14 laps in out of 135. DJ Stagner, Michael Araya, Matthew Thunhorst, 1, 2, 3 as they come. And it's going to be Ronnie Osmer up inside the top 5 now. So of all the drivers who are fighting on that bubble, 15th place man Ronnie Osmer is looking to show that he will not be replaced tonight. The goal for Osmer is to maintain and hang on. He doesn't have to pass anyone in points so long as he himself does not lose any position. Stagner is set to get him going this time. DJ's second restart as leader proves to be no small feat for the rest of the field to catch up to him. A rocket launch. Michael Araya takes second firmly, and that's going to leave Matthew Thunhorst alongside Cody Smith. Watch the mid-pack now and hope that everyone stays together. Ethan Lane to the inside, and when we say the inside, we mean the inside. He's taking it all the way down to the apron right now and trying to farm his own groove and reap his own benefits. The GameStop Toyota Supra drops to the inside once again, and you can see here he is dealing on the bottom and making up passes as he speaks. Josh Chrisman, toe-to-toe. This will be for 20th place. Ethan went to the back of the field, mind you, so he found himself outside the top 25 and already is climbing back up. Doesn't matter where Ethan Lane ends up to begin with, of course, to start a race. He's found his way up there before. Michigan, he ended up starting in 32nd and finishing second, while Michael Araya looks for his third win in 4 races. Michael looking at it again. To the inside, DJ Stagner no longer has it, and that's going to send the Swamp Motorsport guys to another yellow flag as line leader. Brant McClendon appeared to be involved in that one. It is a big one. Potter among others. Cautions out. 4th time tonight in 17 laps. So the big question is why? Coming out of the corner, Ryan Potter looks loose, maybe tagging the back end of Nicholas Ward. Then hits Brant McClendon, and McClendon goes down. Thomas Bresci, does he get lucky? He's going to slow down, get turned, but maybe he doesn't get hit. That's all going to change when Sebastian Miller comes by. Miller sees Andrew Hamilton get plowed. Bresci turns. He's in the wreckage as well now, and it just gets worse from there. Josh Christman comes in, Kyle Cooper as well. Blake Gordon slams on the brakes. Only does him so much good. He actually does get away from it. And then Kyle Cooper gets on his way. Cautions out. Biggest wreck of the day. So we pace once more. Ryan Potter still trying to get it turned around at that point. Here's a look on board with Kyle Cooper at the time of the incident. Ethan Lane surged on the inside, but he had nothing to do with this one. Huge hit for Cooper. And he gets plowed up into the wall, and there's no escaping that. Brent McClendon, mind you, also collects Jack Drucker. Cautions out. Many a driver to pit road. A few holdouts, but as you can see, Thomas Bresci making it in. Sam Nieto right there, the back of the field in its majority. Making the call. Ethan Lane decides to all the same. Lane gets back on the way. Gonna fill himself up. Got the tank of fuel he needs to go about 60-some laps. I think that's about as long as he's gonna go. If you have any extended stints from here. 20 laps in out of 135. And now it'll be Jacob Fife leading for our 4th restart of the day. With all this time under caution, Blake Cannon has been able to repair his backside, and so the car has gotten increasingly competitive over the last few yellow flag cycles, and of course over the last few laps. Less damage, better performance. We will get back to work. It is your 4th restart of the day. And you can see Cannon's car is all but entirely back to full capacity. Jacob Fife, green flags out. And here he goes. DJ Stagner taking the lead, and you talk about that playoff picture. Fife is now getting very close again to Ronnie Osmer. Only a row separating them, also separating he and Braxton DeWeese. Osmer is in 5th, and so far of all those on the bubble, he remains the class of the field. 21 laps in out of 135. Side by side between Fife and Morton. Justin looking to have a strong oval race before heading toward the oval dominant playoff season. Of course, for Justin, he's alongside a great team in JTM Motorsport, Matthew Thunhorst and Thomas Bresci, who are some of the outright best oval drivers and overall drivers. They're 1st and 2nd in points for a good reason. And Morton now looking to spring on late and get himself alongside his teammates who have done such a great job and make it a 3-way threat for JTM each and every week. Side by side again, DJ Stagner and Michael Araya. Advantage DJ down the straights. Michael Araya can look as low as he pleases. and he hasn't needed to go all the way down to the bottom to make that point. Coming across the line, still Michael Araya. While Michael only leads by a few hundredths of a second, it's just enough not only to maintain that position, but also just to make sure he's got the track real estate that he wants. It's side by side up front, really nowhere else with the same competitive spirit now. Looks like we've learned the lesson after a few cautions back and forth, and it's time to fan out a little bit more as Matthew Thunhorse looks to become the third man in this fight. DJ Stagner taking second, and looks like he slots back in a line. All the while, Tom Wetmore just barely leading Braxton DeWeese. Again, so long as Wetmore hangs on and makes it ahead of DeWeese and Jacob Fife, he's firmly into the playoffs. With Ronnie Osmer ahead of him, he's going to be moved back to the 15th seed, tentatively speaking, but Jacob Fife is not far enough ahead. As you can see here, he's running in 7th to say that he is in the playoffs right now. He is 11 points back on Braxton DeWeese, 13 back on Tom Wetmore, so currently where Jacob Fife stands is not enough to guarantee that he is going to go the distance, and I think that's going to be a big problem for Jacob, because getting up to Ronnie Osmer is one thing on paper, but it would take a lot more pace consistently to do it. Jacob is coming up on Jared Davis and really trying to make that move stick. It's critical that he does so. DJ Stagner watching as Matthew Thunhorse pressured for second, couldn't get around. 27 laps in out of 135. Michael Araya leads on his lonesome. Matthew Thunhorse takes second overall. Again, only a one-time race winner, and he is your championship leader. And to add to that, the man who is chasing him down the closest only has one win, and is just 9 points behind, which goes to show the level of consistency between Thunhorse and Thomas Bressi has been remarkable. Very, very rarely do you see two drivers who are always on their A game just like that, although Bressi, with a little bit now of that left rear damage, might have a rare off race, which could put him officially out of the regular season championship hunt. I mean, looking at the numbers, Thomas Bressi a little bit weaker with 11 top 10s and 6 top 5s, but what he's done with those numbers is be efficient with high-scoring races. And while he hasn't gotten a pole position, it's been all about that race pace for Thomas Bressi. Tonight, however, he's down 4 on where he qualified, and again, a very rare sight to see, while Blake Cannon now finds himself down 15. Pole sitter again, having that early damage, most of it's repaired, he's back on the way up. Michael Araya, 30 laps in out of 135, sees Matthew Thunhorse is there. Matthew would like to put a crooked number alongside his win tally, and although, of course, it's justification enough that he's going to fight for the championship when you consider that he's the regular season points leader, he wants to go and prove that he can do just what Matt Alenis has done, or just what Ethan Lane has done, and win multiple races. And when better to do so than now? I think that Matthew Thunhorse would tell you there is no better time. He'll look to the inside and opt to take the race lead. Perhaps the easiest choice that he has made all night long. Matthew Thunhorse slides low, takes the pass, and it's all his. Cody Smith, 8th up to 4th, has had a quietly good race so far, and a quietly good night at that. A qualifying performance above the average for the 18 team, and of course, he's had some good races overall. He's had some opportunities on the podium to this point, but it looks like this season is not going to play out as a championship hunt, even though that's pretty unfortunate to say, because Cody Smith has been very good this season all in all. The problem is that for him right now, he is not where he needs to be with respect, of course, to multi-time winning. That's the one thing. He does have himself locked in, just to clarify, 10th in points, but it also comes down to optimizing those results. He's looking for another opportunity to go for the playoffs, and that's going to be tomorrow night in the Octane Series. Tentatively speaking, he's above that cut line by 32 points, but that is not a guarantee. We have seen 25-plus points wiped out as recently as last week in just one race. You can lose more than 30 very fast. Nothing is a guarantee if you're not locked in. For Cody anyway, doesn't have to worry about that tonight, but talking about what's next for him, it's still up in the air. Blake Cannon is coming up on Vinny Tigner and perhaps more importantly, Braxton Deweese. Braxton finds himself in a bad spot where he is behind Osmer, Fife, and Tom Wetmore, all of them being ahead at the same time. In essence, that means that there's no window for Braxton Deweese to get up there and claim a position in the playoffs. Because Tom Wetmore is currently up 2 on the cut, Ronnie Osmer comes in on the cut, and Jacob Fife being stuck in the middle means he can't really do much, and it's very unlikely he'll make a spot up on either Wetmore or on Ronnie Osmer where he stands. Matthew Thunhorst now leads the way, and firmly at that. But again, Ronnie Osmer is in the most comfortable position of those trying to make it in. Ronnie is set to jump to 14th seed with this performance. Caution's out, 5th time of the day. Back of the field, Steve Durham. Take a look at what happened here for Durham in the 21. For the second time today, he's involved in an incident. It looks like contact. Brant McClendon shakes the 21, goes down, overcorrects, and he comes up the track. Luckily, getting no one else involved as Durham is back on the way now. And the caution flies for lap number 37. Matthew Thunhorst, your race leader, Michael Araya second, DJ Stagner third, and Ronnie Osmer P4 as we get back to business once again. This time around, business will go to the inside of the circuit on pit road. And it's no longer business as usual for majority of the pack, except DJ Stagner decides to stay out, as does Josh Christman. Otherwise, it is time to head to pit road and make it so. Four tires and fuel set to be the recipe for every driver here. We have 3 extra tire sets at our disposal, and for a 135 lap race, that is rather generous. It means that drivers shouldn't have to concern themselves at all with when they use tire. Thunhorst leads across the line. Then it is going to be Osmer, Lariah, Cody Smith, Jacob Fife, Justin Morton, Nick Tarbuck, Jared Davis, Tom Wetmore, and it's going to be Davis, the last man in the top 10, Wetmore 11th, so on and so forth. Christman scored officially in second. DJ Stagner, your overall leader. And coming off of pit road is the number 8 of Matthew Thunhorst. Josh drops to pit road. Matthew instead finds himself second again. And if the numbers don't deceive us, it should be pretty easy for Thunhorst to make his way back up to the race lead on 40 lap younger tires. "39 laps in out of 135, coming toward the third way mark of this race. Halfway, changing from lap 75 and condensing. So keep in mind, the 50% marker tonight will be lap number 68, not 75, based on the condensed race length due to the earlier session troubles. So a little bit less time to work it out, but to this point anyway, we've had a few short opening stints. Now time to see if we can really get in that rhythm and see what happens next. JTM's leading man and flagship driver for 2025, It's all Matthew Thunor. Still get going on the inside groove. DJ Stagner as control car has the edge on the outside to begin with. See how long that remains the same. Matthew stays behind DJ Stagner over the opening half lap. Not much has changed on the immediate jump, and it looks like still DJ Stagner skating up high. Watch now as old tires go head-to-head with what's new. The rubber difference will be immense as the next few laps go through, and it's already clear. Matthew Thunhorst with the edge. He'll take the race lead, get down to the bottom. DJ tries to work it. Can't. It's a clear lead for the number 8. Laps in out of 135. Cautions out again. It's your 6th of the night. And the cautions have become, unfortunately, inevitable for many of these guys here. I mean, they've seen so many problems. Watch what happens this time around. Josh Christman stopping for it. And it's Justin Morton. So one of the JTM guys get caught up bad. Jacob Fife gets loose, then into Morton, then into Nick Tarbuck. Chain reaction, and the caution flies. A look on board what Morton will show you who watched it as it developed, and unfortunately it caught right up to him. The 9 is spun around, the 36 gets away. And as does Nick Tarbuck, but unfortunately for Morton, he faces the wall at the end of it, and he comes down to pit road with teammate Thomas Bressi, Sebastian Miller, Josh Christman, Andrew Schaub, and the remainder of the back pack, while Matthew Thunhorst leads DJ Stagner. It is your 6th caution of the night. Set to go green at around lap number 46 now. Matthew Thunhorst back and ahead. The biggest mover of the night so far has been Nick Tarbuck, despite being involved in that incident slightly with some left side contact. He has been outright the biggest gaining driver. He's gone from 35th up to 8th. That's 27 spots gained over the first 43 laps. So of all drivers in the top 10, he's the only one of which who did not start outside. Of course, did not start within the top 15, started outside of it. Unbelievable the difference, though, because he comes from P35, whereas the next closest driver started in 13th. Matthew Thunhorst. It's all his again for another restart. DJ Stagner is now no longer the control car. And even though he got past last time by with the lead in hand, might be a little bit worse for him now as he's got to get back to business, as Matthew Thunhorst will get the launch. Thunhorst rolls away. He's got a car length and a half immediately, and DJ Stagner takes it for P2. Ronnie Osmer looking out for a podium opportunity. 3 wide now for second. Osmer brushes the wall briefly, but he's going to get the 2 for 1, only for Michael Araya to try to counteract it. Michael diving even further into the corner. Then both Stagner and, of course, Ronnie Osmer alike gets it to second place. Tom Wetmore now inside the top 5, and with Araya now there for P2, it looks like, again, the runner-up spot is no guarantee. Nick Tarbuck to the inside. 3 wide again, another scuffle. Cody Smith, Nicholas Ward, and all those who come out of turn 2. The fact they're still together might change. Huge contact for the one-up Braxton Deweese. He'll come back up the track, and the call on the field is no caution. Take a look at that slam with Tarbuck. And Nick gets loose, and he bounces right off of Tarbuck here. Braxton Deweese does. Slam. Takes the one down to the inside, as it does for Nick Tarbuck, who was able to rejoin the racing circuit. But for Braxton Deweese, the playoff implications are immense. He's in 33rd and has to limp it down to pit road, and a moment like that might just be a race ender and a chance for the playoffs that comes to a close. We'll see now what he can do. He's the final driver on the lead lap as Matthew Thunhorst holds forward. Now with that happening, Tom Wetmore is 4th, Ronnie Osmer is 3rd, and with those two inside the top 5, it's going to be effectively impossible for Jacob Fife, even as he runs right now in 5th, to get up there and possibly make it into the playoffs. The two guys who came in immediately above the cut have the edge, and that's an advantage with not only position but points. They're only going to build up that points leverage on Jacob Fife, which means that for him right now, the only thing he can do is go out there and win. A win is an automatic lock-in for the 36, but with him no longer being in that position, unfortunately means Jacob now is going to have to go 110%. Take a ride on board now with Fife. Let's see what he does to reclaim the top 5. He quickly got moved back to 6th. Jacob qualified 7th, runs one spot up. Nick Tarbuck is retired for the night, and take a look who's back inside the top 10. Blake Cannon with all of his damage repaired, fresh rubber, and it looks like the confidence is still there. Early troubles all behind him. Blake is looking to make a move and enter the top 5 conversation. Jacob Fife not being there just yet still holds the keys to entering the battle for certain. Tom Wetmore, the number 69 here, still keeping Cody Smith at bay. Good defense as the number 27 of Cannon now looks a little further low. Blake just behind Jacob Fife. Now for Fife again, it's a tricky position because both of his rivals in the playoff picture are just ahead of him. And they're all running in very important positions, all up there in the top 10. But with both those guys, Wetmore and Osmer running inside the top 5, Ronnie being in the podium, Jacob Fife has his back against the wall. Perhaps the only thing he can do is what's brought him the most success as of late, go against the grain. If there's any opportunity to split the strategy, maybe, just maybe, he'll have to go for it. Of course, he did so at an intermediate track in the Octane Series this year. He didn't do so when, of course, we were battling on Monday nights. He's had more success over there in the Octane Series historically with 5 career wins. The Ignite Series, 2 wins, both of them coming last year, one of them at a SuperSpeedway track. Here comes Ethan Lane. Lane always going under the apron, and it looks like he's doing it again. Ethan has decided that he too wants to get in the mix. If Blake Cannon can have his fun, he would like to be right there as well. Cody Smith going to be passed now quickly by the number 27 of Cannon. That makes him a top 5 driver. 3 wide, Vinny Tigner, Jared Davis, and Vinny Tigner sees Jared behind as it's Ethan Lane beside him. Ethan continuing to drop it further than anyone else. And the way Lane is taking to the track has been unrivaled all night long. And that is indicative of a guy who is completely head and shoulders ahead on racecraft in those individual instances. If you know how to exploit the car and get the most out of it, that will show, and it will pay dividends as the night progresses here. So being the one of one who's really pulling off that apron call, that's going to be huge here to get back up inside the podium. If that's the end goal for Lane on this stint, he can very well achieve it. Pit road window under green is going to open up within the next 30 laps. Taking a look at the stint data, it's pretty clear now who's where. Most drivers in the top 10 and top 20 alike went in at about lap number 38, so you're most likely going to see drivers entering pit road around the 90s. So that's going to be lap 90 to 100. If we stay under green, that's the way they will go. And there's a very real chance now as we finally break into that rhythm, that's the way every driver keeps it moving. Cannon to the inside on Tom Wetmore. That is for fourth, while Lane drops to the inside on Fife. And for Jacob, he'll fall back into ninth place. Ethan Lane takes eighth. Jacob gets through, and of course for him it means he falls backwards. All the while it's going to be Jacob Fife watching as Vinny Tigner comes in. Tigner is still inside of the top 10. Single digits is what his ambition is. He's going to have to make his way up at least one position. Single file all the way down, 9/10 of a second, the separation between Matthew Thunhorst and Michael Araya. Michael right now firmly in the second place. Then you're going to have third in Ronnie Osmer, fourth in Blake Cannon, P5, Tom Wetmore. Top five right now is going to be separate by 3.3 seconds. So, all things considered, going to be a pretty solid distance between those guys. Not going to be close quarters racing just yet. But it could be for Ethan Lane, who's just outside the top five. Watch this to the inside on Nicholas Ward. Seventh, and look at how far he goes. Again, the apron is optimal. And if a driver knows how to work it, they will get the absolute most out of the car. Again, that is exactly what has been Ethan Lane's advantage so long. Ethan still diving deep. Now coming up on Cody Smith for 6th place, while Vinny Tigner battles Jacob Fife to take 9th. Ethan with the advantage on Cody Smith now tries to go for another position. It'll be Tom Wetmore in the 69 who has to watch out. Side by side. The run off the corner for Lane is significantly better. And watch his run in. The entry is everything, but the fact that he can pull it together and get a better run out, that is the winning difference. Ethan Lane is far better in, cuts the most distance, then gets the run out of the corner. And the fundamental difference between he and everyone else is that maybe some drivers are good on the entries, some are good on the exits, some are good on the middle. Maybe some of them are good through two categories, on the way in and through the middle of it, or the middle and the way out, or entry and exit. Ethan Lane is just good at all of it, and that has been the great thing for him. He's got the talent to use up every part of the track however he likes. Jacob Fife is still side by side with Vinny Tigner. No dice. These guys have been side by side now for 3 laps. Hunter Madalenas comes up on Jared Davis, and now he too will try to replicate the apron call. Works. He'll take 11th. Vinny has not yet dared to do so. And maybe that would be the differentiator between he and Fife here. Jacob, a little bit higher. 63 laps in out of 135. We're coming up on that halfway point, expecting pit stop strategy to come to its natural continuation in 25 or so laps. And we'll finally get to see what green flag cycle really looks like at the Magic Mile. Tigner finally braking with a slight edge, and that's going to give Vinny 9th place. Matthew Thunhorst leading now by 1.2 seconds over Michael Araya, although Ronnie Osmer is looking to make this a red-hot fight. Take a look off the back end of the 44. Araya no longer alone, and it is Ronnie Osmer in the clutch who is looking to perform. Osmer has gotten about as close as he's been all night long to taking it for P2. The question becomes, of course, what can he do with this? In the meanwhile, back of the field, back is the top 10 anyway, it is dicey again. Jacob Fife being passed by Cody Smith. And this is now the new fight for 9th as Vinny Tigner's gotten up to 7th, taking it around the outside of Nicholas Ward. Vinny has come alive as of late. Of course, second place finish last week. Now eyeing another top 10 run, and while he's far out points-wise in the championship picture, these have been two great races that show the potential he has to keep on going in the Integrity Racing League and find that maiden victory. Side by side with Jacob Fife again. Nicholas Ward pulling him back down to earth as Hunter Madalenas goes right down to the grass. Talk about lawn mowing. Saw a little strip come up as soon as the 07 did it. Madalenas down low on Cody Smith once more. Now this is for 10th place. Hunter would like to enter the top 10. And so long as he gets by the 18, he'll be firmly set in there. Going at it with Jacob Fife and Cody Smith. Cody on the top side, taking it 3 grooves high. Jacob Fife, middle side. Well, it looks like not much aside anyway when you got drivers who you can bounce off of. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Jacob Fife he's been feeling the pressure. Hasn't been really putting it down, but he's been taking it and then some. And it's quite a shock that even with that, he has maintained to stay 9th. Vinny Tigner got up to 7th, falls back to 8th. Nicholas Ward taking a position from him. And Jacob here, who is 16th in points as it stands, although it looks like it's going to be a very, very hard road for him to make the playoffs now, he will not quit. With Fife also running firmly ahead of the Braxton DeWeese team, you gotta wonder what's gonna happen now for your 30th place driver. Braxton actually moving up to 28th over the last few laps and getting it back together, but as you can see, he's still got a few drivers to come through before even considering what is up next. Braxton's gotten lucky that it looks like very little cosmetic damage. You can see the flare on the right side, and the damage is evident, but even still, he's made his way up. .65 laps to go. Looking for 27th here to maintain the lead lap. Matthew Thunhorse is only about a turn and a half away, and you can see now he's got about 2 seconds to the next closest driver. Who is that next closest driver? Ethan Lane. The number 6 just got by Ronnie Osmer, and coming with him, Blake Cannon. The original battle is ready to rumble. .64 laps to go. Matthew Thunhorst finding himself with a breakout, but one driver who can pull anyone back no matter how far they've come, well, it's Ethan Lane. And so it appears that all of a sudden, that's exactly what he has the chance to do, and he's got the time, and it looks like right now he's got the equipment to make it so. The 55 of Ronnie Osmer. About a second and a half the distance between he now and leader Thunhorst. Lane second to second. He qualified here, and while it's taken the better part of this race to get back, he has indeed returned. Blake Cannon now is looking to take a podium placement away from Ronnie, and he would only be 2 spots off of where he qualified. Again, that's your pole sitter. Cannon with damage early on, repairing it, bringing the speed back, and he is still right there. Let's see what happens here for Ronnie Osmer, 9th up to 3rd, gaining 6. Take a look in the back end. While Cannon has been able to blaze through the majority of the field, it looks like now a little bit more challenge. Let's see how easy it is for Blake eventually to get there. Matthew Thunhorst with 61 laps to go, coming out of 60 remaining. Ethan Lane, second place here, 7/10 back. The gap is now under a second. Ethan has not yet been able to lead laps in the second half of this race, of course, as now we have entered that final stretch. Ronnie passed by Blake Cannon, just making the move into the entry of 3. Tom Wetmore holding his own in 6th place. 7th is Hunter Madalenis. Vinny Tigner now 8th. Nicholas Ward and Cody Smith wrap up the top 10 with Jacob Fife in 11th. So Jacob drops off the top 10, and here comes Tyler Hensley. Hensley is coming off of back-to-back top 5 finishes. He finished 4th in Portland, a career best, and 5th last week in Texas, and was very close to taking Will Reichert's spot to make it 2 consecutive 4th-place runs, the best 2-race stretch of Hensley's Ignite Series career, and of course, career best finish on the board in 4th. .59 laps to go. Matthew Thunhorst now only 0.3 of a second ahead as Ethan Lane comes around the way, very close to Andrew Schaub. He's going to wiggle and barely get away from the 86. Up the track, Andrew Schaub going to grind the outside wall. 58 laps to go. Oh, Ronnie Osmer. If it wasn't bad enough with Ethan Lane, the same happens with contact now, and Ronnie gets shaken. Luckily, the leaders get away, but Matthew Thunhorst no longer has the comfort of a distant Ethan Lane. He is about as close as it gets. Ethan Lane, lower and lower, closer and closer. Little else can be done when you're this close to Lane. So far this season, his worst enemy has been himself. You can only hope that he'll force himself into an error, but Ethan consistently has been so confident in New Hampshire that it is very unlikely to get that. Last year, he won here in the Octane Series, one of his 14 wins on the season. Now looking for win number 6 on the calendar this time around. Side by side with Matthew Thunhorst. After over 40 laps ahead, Thunhorst boxed in by lapper Andrew Hamilton. Lane backs off at the same time, and it looks like they'll both try to make it through as one behind the lapper in the number 16. Andrew Hamilton passed quickly. And so now, Ethan Lane putting his full focus as the sun rises again through the clouds. A track temperature of 94 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer than we've seen all day long. Relative humidity coming in at 76%. Slick track. Tire management counts, and for Ethan Lane, he's worked his way this far. He is back on top. New race leader, Ethan Lane, with 53 laps to go. Your regular season leader in points falls again to the winningest man on the calendar. Can Ethan Lane stretch the gap? Of course, now Matthew Thunhorst. What's going to happen for him here? How far does he fall behind as Blake Cannon take it for second? Andrew Hamilton, who'll be passing by momentarily. Meanwhile, the back end of the top 10 is still as close as it gets. Few tenths of a second apart from many of these drivers. .52 laps remaining. Jack Drucker, 21st up to 12th. And for Tyler Hensley, 17th up to 13th. Both of them gaining strong overall 13 spots game between the both of them, and Drucker particularly needing a run like this. Jack is firmly locked into the playoff picture here. He's got one win, came at Daytona, but ever since the end of June, he's been slipping down the championship ladder, going from 3rd down to now his new low of 6th. And the rookie's had an incredible season so far, but it looks like he's been a little bit less on the throttle as of late in terms of improvements time and again. Watch what happens now as Tyler Hensley keeps on chasing him. Nicholas Ward coming up on Gael Brooks. And it's now Vinny Tigner side by side alongside Cody Smith. Briefly, Cody now passed. Vinny gets it again to 8th. Hunter Madalenas has been following Ethan Lane's playbook, and that's gotten him using that apron method up inside the top 10. He's done it sparingly, hasn't been as consistent going down to the bottom as Ethan Lane has, but when he goes there, he's on the aggression, and of course, he's making passes. Tom Wetmore, 12th up to 6th, the race he needed. Ronnie Osmer, 9th to 4th. The race he needed as well. And it looks like both the guys who came in just above the cut have decided now is not the time to play any games. Jacob Fife might have a chance, though. DJ Stagner is 38 laps down. Wow. He's on pit road, and he's been on pit road. I can't tell if this is going to be enough. Mind you, 43 points ahead coming in. It is a narrow margin, the narrowest of margins, really, with 49 laps remaining. If he can end up making it in, it all comes down to whether or not Jacob Fife will knock him off the ladder. Jacob's going to have to go for a top 10 to have even a shot. Nicholas Ward right now holds the keys there with 48 laps to go, and Jacob is not the closest. Caution's out, 47 laps to go, and it is our 7th of the day. Watch what happened. After our longest green flag run, and the field outright scattering, we're going to have our final pit stop cycle under caution, so everyone's going to be brought together again. Watch this. Trying to take a look to see where it started. Thomas Bresci, one of those who is far away from the trouble. You see Jack Drucker here, and the yellow flag flies. I think we're looking at Blake Gordon as cause for concern. Gordon was on the inside of the racing circuit, and number 13 looked to be slow with maybe some control troubles. And the Endeavor Racing Chevy Attitude loose, spins down, and the caution flies. Yellow flag is out as Gordon has retired for the night. Pit road race is on. Ethan Lane coming in first. Will he leave with the advantage? Now to find out. Matthew Thunhorst, really close, but he can't get him. Ethan Lane will beat Cannon and Thunhorst. Now that was intense. 3 drivers separated by half a car length. Huge run off pit road for Ethan Lane. And likewise for Cannon. Your front row remain the top 2. So, pit road for the night, I think it's effectively done for. Unless the driver has damage, they have no other reason to head in. Blake Cannon getting around very briefly there. Andrew Hamilton. The leaders pull themselves up to the front of the field. "28 drivers remain on the lead lap, the last of which, Sebastian Miller, now catching back up. Miller qualified 19th today. has dropped 9 spots on the day, and it looks like even still, he is leading his teammate in Stagner and only trails Ryan Potter. Potter's gotten away from some early incidents of his own right, and he is back in business as well. Good to see. Blake Cannon, Ethan Lane, Ronnie Osmer. Here we go again. Lane with the advantage with 44 laps to go. It's a sprint to the checkered flag. All eyes on win number 6 for the 6 team. Now Drucker side by side with Tyler Hensley. These guys are knocking on the top 10's door. Hunter Madalenis with a little bit of a shakeup. 3 wide. Hensley down to the bottom. But Drucker with a good run through the middle almost puts himself in there. Jacob Fife now bobbles up the track. Lucky not to get in the wall there. Hensley wiggles, expecting an overreaction. Both drivers maintain. Jacob, again, he is ahead now of DJ Stagner. Stagner falls to 34th place. Briefly, it looks like a back and forth on pit road there. No dice. Regardless of that, Jacob is now competing against a driver who is off the circuit, and he needs to pull it up for a top 5 for an opportunity. Tom Wetmore, Ronnie Osmer are in firm standing to make the playoffs, and for Braxton Deweese, 1 lap down here, he's going to need at least another yellow flag as a bigger break with still some right side damage remaining. Blake Cannon, Matthew Thunhorst, the fight is on between these two. Tom Wetmore defends upon Cody Smith. Wetmore cannot afford to have a repeat of last week in which he wrecked out late and lost 20 points in the championship. That was the killer. I mean, for him, Wetmore anyway, he's lucky that didn't send him under the cut line. Of course, he had a buffer, but even still, 2-time winner in the Octane Series this year. And yet he chases after what will be his maiden victory in the Ignite Series. Still hasn't come his way yet. Still time on the table, yes, for Tom, but he finds himself on the razor's edge. Wetmore with 40 laps remaining, watching as the 97 of Nicholas Ward stays right there. 7th place for Ward, 13th to 7th. Unfortunately, I don't believe it's going to be enough without a win for the 97 of Ward here. Nicholas Ward having a solid rookie season in the Ignite Series, but he's been great in the Octane Series. I mean, he's gotten himself to victory lane in multiple podiums, and he's really stepping back into the groove of the driver he was about a half decade ago. He spent upwards of 5 years winless in the Integrity Racing League and has pulled it back together of late with some of his best overall races. 39 laps to go. Tom Wetmore, 12th to 6th. Fair chance for him. Ronnie Osmer, same goes. If they maintain these positions to the end of the race, they both lock into the playoffs no matter what. 10th of a second between Blake Cannon and Matthew Thunhorst. Take a look on board, and as a matter of fact, we will take a lap on board with Matthew Thunhorst to see what it's like as he is on the chase for the 2nd position. Thomas Bresky's been out of his sight all night long, so for your potential regular season champion, here's what it's like inside the car. That's a look inside with Matthew Thunhorst in the 8 car, running 3rd right now, and you can see here, a lot of wheel work. Perhaps not as delicate as the other intermediates, but that's when you, of course, have to consider how different New Hampshire is from other circuits. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway, all things considered, one of the flattest ovals that we go to, with turns that only have up to 7 degrees of banking, and on that lower portion, the lowest one that Ethan Lane has been working, it's only 2 degrees on that apron. So compared to the regular intermediates that have 15 up to 25, sometimes close to 30 degrees of banking, it's nothing here. The tires are being worked, and they don't have a lot of support to propel them back inward. Bristol Motor Speedway is perhaps the best example of this phenomenon, but every oval racetrack is like a bowl where you're having the car pushed back to the inside, regardless of if they run high or if they run low. In that same token, New Hampshire is sort of that, but it's just a lot less of that effect. You're not really being pushed down the track because there's very little of that banking to push you down. The elevated circuit up high is only 7 degrees of banking. That is minimal. There are some straightaways in NASCAR. Oh, Jack Drucker goes around with Hunter Madalez. Big wreck. The 07 is killed. The motor blows. Race over. Caution's out. Madalenis was on the inside, hit Drucker, and there was no going back. And Drucker didn't T-bone Madalenis, but with a harsh impact as they bounced off of the inside safer barrier, and that is what kills the motor for Hunter. From behind, there's Cody Smith, but the problem lies up ahead as we look on board. A done day for Hunter Madalenis. Jack Drucker, of course, getting a bad part of it as well, but he will continue under his own power with 33 laps to go. Drucker comes in, as does Fife and Steve Durham. Thomas Bresci opts to do so, and some others in the back half of the field. 32 laps remaining. Should go green at about 30 to go from this point onward. Thank you for tuning in live on FTN Broadcasting. A little bit of a slower start than we would have liked, but it has been a great race since then. Ethan Lane, Blake Cannon, Matthew Thunhorse, the heavy hitters, run up front. They are ready to pull it back together and finish it off strong with our final run to the checkered flag. We're deciding who makes it into the championship race from this point onward. And that, of course, will be whether or not these drivers who are up front hang on. If Ronnie Osmer and Tom Wetmore mess up, you very well could see Jacob Fife elevate himself. Braxton Deweese right now is 1 lap down, still getting some damage repaired in the hopes that time will persist. Opportunities will continue to arise and he can get back on the lead lap. .30 to go as we head green. That will be lap 106 of our 135 tonight. Perhaps the biggest surprise of those in the top 10 right now is Casey Shue, who qualified in 23rd and has made it up now 13 places to find himself P10. Biggest mover of all those in the top 10, biggest mover in the top 15 would be 31st to 13th in Matt Sisler. A remarkable race for him, gaining 18 places so far. Let's get back to work. 30 laps to go. Green flag is going to fly. Ethan Lane, Blake Cannon, Matthew Thunhorst, and so on and so forth. 26 on the lead lap. 30 laps to go. Only one can win. And oh, we got contact. Nicholas Ward. Oh my. Nicholas Ward, how did you save that? The caution flies for a ridiculous save from the 97. 99 of 100 times, that is gone. Wow, Nicholas Ward. I mean, he was 45 degrees sideways. Can you believe it? Take a look one more time. And he makes it look easy. Wow, Nicholas Ward with the save of the night. Unfortunately, the caution flies, but I don't think anyone would have expected him to make that happen. And so it does. Caution flies, Nicholas Ward steals the show. And he is still in 10th place. So we'll have just over 25 laps to go when we return green. With a little bit of time until then, we'll bring you some non-stop coverage and thank our partners and associates live on FTN Broadcasting that have brought tonight's coverage to you. You won't miss a thing under green. Post-race coverage coming immediately after as we end the 2025 regular season for the Integrity Racing League. It begins tonight with the Ignite Series and tomorrow it ends with the Octane Series. Stay tuned. We will be right back as we are set to go green with 26 laps to go. You're watching FTN Broadcasting and we're about to go non-stop under caution.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
.26 to go for perhaps our maybe most impressive caution of the season. Nicholas Ward saves it, and even before he does so, the yellow flag flies. I don't think anyone would have thought that Ward would have pulled through there. Caution is out. And now it's set to go away. Ethan Lane and Blake Cannon, the same front row that got us going all those laps ago, battles again. Green flags out. 26 laps remaining through 1 and 2. It's calmer. Oh, is it? Jarrett Davis. He's going to end up going to the inside. Involuntarily contact Brandon Bernhardt. They're not saving it this time. Big wreck. Caution's out. Watch this. Started with Davis. Davis gets away from it, inevitably. But then, it's Bernhardt in the 81 who is tagged by Josh Gallagher. Ryan Potter gets into it, as does Sam Nieto and Will Reichard. And, wow, Brant McClendon lucky. He's the lucky one this time, the number 11. So watch that for the 11 of McClendon as he moves up now to 22nd in timing and scoring. Here's why. The C's part at a very slow speed, and, you know, honestly, it's more dangerous when they're rolling slower because they don't move out of your way as fast. Brett McClendon, great job there. Very fundamental. Didn't panic. Let it happen. That was great to see. We'll have about 21 laps remaining as we go green this time by. With that said, we usually crank it up with 22 laps to go. In this case, we will do so immediately after the green flag rolls again. So, here's what's going to happen. We're going to get loud. We're going to get proud with the best cameras in iRacing, Whiplash Sim Cams. Again, there's no better place to go for your iRacing cameras, and there's a few reasons why. It doesn't matter how long you've been broadcasting or if you broadcast at all, you can try these cameras out for free. Join the Whiplash SimCams Discord server and try out some of our trial packs, including popular circuits such as the Charlotte Motor Speedway. No reason not to. You lose nothing and you gain iRacing's most TV-accurate camera packages for 2025 and beyond. And if you like what you see, it can be yours with no licensing strings attached $5 a piece per car, per track. Once you have it, it is yours. So with that said, visit Whiplash SimCams on their social media platforms. We'd like to thank Pitstop TV and, of course, the Whiplash SimCams development team for welcoming us into the Whiplash family for this year and all that are to come. Ethan Lane is going to be your leader this time by, and when we crank it up, it's going to get exciting all over again from the Magic Mile. One to green. 27 on the lead lap now as Gael Brooks has regained that status. And Braxton Deweese notably has as well. Spending the better part of the last 100 laps out of the limelight. Braxton has returned, and he's looking to give it one last shot. Back on the lead lap with a fair portion of his damage repaired. The race is not over for anyone here. Braxton, who only finds himself 11 under the cut of Jacob Fife and 20 plus back overall, it's not impossible. 20 laps will remain officially as we are set to go green now, and this is it. The dash to make it to the checkered flag. Only 20 miles separate either Ethan Lane, Blake Cannon, or anyone behind them from victory. Here we go as we crank it up now from the Magic Mile. It's your final crank it up of the regular season. It's Ethan Lane and Blake Cannon, but so far, Cannon has yet to hold a candle. What's going to happen now as he gets as close as he's been all night long? We are due to find out. Blake Cannon getting closer and closer now with 16 laps remaining, and as you can see, he's right there, the 27 team eyeing up Ethan Lane, and it looks like the yellow flag is out. We're working through the replay to show you what happens. Lane tags the wall, Blake Cannon goes up high, and it looks like the 6 team falters. Cannon around the outside, He looks higher than he has all night long for the pass. Lane at this point, still bobbling. Cannon in the wall, brushes again. It's a completely different racing order now as we still bring you through as it goes down. Ethan Lane surges down low one more time. Cannon for the crossover. Looks even lower. I mean, the apron has been the place to go, and Lane jumped up on the high side. That's going to give Matthew Thunor second, Tom Wetmore third, and a huge collateral wreck after. Watch this from the perspective of Ethan Lane's review. And it looks like we will not see that sixth win tonight. Contact up the track, and as he hits it, you got another incident behind. Casey Shoe wobbles. And then, Jacob Fife. Playoff implications here. The 36 goes up the track and falls behind Braxton Deweese. Watch this. For Jacob, if there was any shot he was still going to make it in, I don't know if it is there any longer. I mean, too little too late at this point if he comes back. Squeezed up there with Ward. And he drops down and has a vicious shot up top. Tyler Hensley might have applied a little love tap there as he runs now in seventh, and Ethan Lane is retired, so he will not stand on the podium tonight. Three wide, four wide almost, and Hensley. It was a minor tap, I would think. Visually, it didn't look like anything, but I'm thinking there was a nudge on the way out, which might affect the 5. We'll see if it does. 1 lap to green. It's going to be 12 laps remaining from this point on. A long haul these 135 laps have been. Cannon is now looking to bring himself back to victory lane. I mean, this is unbelievable. Because alongside him is a driver who has yet to win all season long. A driver still looking for his first ever Ignite Series win, who is only 2 points above the cut line. And what a valuable win it would be for Tom Wetmore. 2 rows behind him is Vinny Tigner looking for redemption from last week. Green flags out, a dozen to do it. Ronnie Osmer dropping down all the way to the apron here, and I don't think that's going to be any gains just yet. He'll look for the run off the corner. 4 wide. Casey Shoe right in the middle. Steve Durham there, as is Justin Morton. Casey, I mean, middle 3 here. He is in a dicey spot. Makes up another spot. Ronnie Osmer now falling back. Ronnie is in trouble. For the first time all night long, he is outside the top 10, and very clearly so. 15th place. Ronnie is getting shaken up. Braxton Deweese is only 6 spots back, and less than that now as he continues to fall down the ladder. 11 to go. Casey Shoe very close to contact there with Will Reichard. Luckily, nothing comes of it again. They'll stay safe. Nicholas Ward fans out, goes up high, looks for a pass. Oh, Ward shoots it deep. 2 spots for Deweese. Braxton is not done yet. And given another sign. Oh, Reichard. Ronnie Osmer's destroyed. Up, over, the motor's gone, and so is his race. Unbelievable. Ronnie's not getting back on the track. At best, he's going to finish 26th. Wow. Look at this, the most important caution of the day. Championship implications. Cooper into Reichard. Osmer ricochets, barrel rolls, and comes to a rest with a dead motor. Braxton Deweese runs 13th. Osmer is in 26th. And fates have shifted unbelievably. Watch this one more time from inside Osmer's car. The most violent hit of the day. Turned into and shot back out. Rarely do they flip at New Hampshire. Osmer 360'd fully in the air and barely landed on all fours. He's down on pit road. He's towing. He's 27th now, and he might fall further back. Braxton Deweese has been given the sign that pushing still counts. He got by just before the incident, and now it appears again one of your tightest battles in the playoff picture is alive. Ronnie Osmer is on the bubble, mind you. Braxton Deweese is 28 points back. It is not impossible to suggest Braxton makes it in based on this predicament. And the only good overall thing for a driver, for one driver who fully benefits, is Tom Wetmore. Wetmore now has no concern. We're looking at the numbers. Tom Wetmore should be joining us in the Ignite Series playoffs no matter what. He's the only driver we can fully account for now based on position and the numbers he's put up that he will make it into the top 15. Seven laps to go. It'll be 6 when we go green. With Blake Cannon now holding fort, Tom Wetmore is just looking to put himself in victory circle. The question becomes whether or not he can. Second place will make it into the playoffs. First would be a statement. Green flags out. 6 laps to go. Any caution from this point onward sends us to overtime territory. And Cannon gets the jump again. Oh, contact for Jared Davis. Another wreck. Inexplicably, it's the second one where Davis is the first person turned, and he makes it out, cautions out. Watch this. Davis got the initial contact, straightens himself out. Meanwhile, Casey Shue, Steve Durham, and Nicholas Ward, they collide. Ward goes up and down. Kyle Cooper is hit. Thomas Bressie hits Andrew Hamilton. Another multi-car wreck. This brings Deweese up to 11th. Wow, this is something else. Braxton Deweese is in 11th. Ronnie Osmer is in 28th. Mathematically, Ronnie can fall no lower than 28th. It's a 17 position gap, rather, between he and Braxton Deweese. Let's find out now what it takes to win this one. We're going to be looking at a green-white checkered finish. However, this will not count as an overtime run. It appears we are not going to extend this final caution. It will run as a natural, shall we say, green-white checkered. Our first of 4 potential green-white checkered finishes. And a caution after this will take us to the 3 additional. So we got to see what happens here. Because, tentatively speaking, this is your first green-white checkered, but it very well could change. One lap to green. It's only going to be 2 miles between one driver and victory lane. Blake Cannon will be chased out by Matthew Thunhorst and Vinny Tigner. Vinny could still shock the world. Remember this. He wins, he locks into the playoffs and bumps one driver. I would think that based on what we're looking at, he will bump either DJ Stagner, Ronnie Osmer, or Braxton DeWeese. And Tom Wetmore would be the 14th driver. That is, of course, if Vinny can somehow make up these 5 spots. Blake Cannon is looking to hold it comfortably and go for win number 4. 2 laps remaining. This is the final push for the Magic Mile. It's all Cannon into one. Tom Wetmore looks for a decisive move out of turn 2. Can't make a gain right there. Braxton DeWeese is now on the back end of the top 10. Looking low on Sam Nieto. Caution's out. We're going to our second green-white checkered first overtime. Watch what happens. Casey Shue involved. Looks like the number 4 car here. Side by side with Ward. Contact from the 97. Shoots him down to the inside. 1 car incident. Yellow flag's out. Blake Cannon on the other side of the racetrack. It's rather sunny, it's rather bright, and he is still your leader. So, we now have gone to the point of extending this race beyond lap 135. We can go up to about lap 145 with the amount of laps at our disposal. So, this will count as our first of 3 extended attempts. If the caution flies during this one, we'll move to our second. If the caution flies during our second attempt, we move to our third and last. After a third extended attempt to finish this race, we will end up finishing under caution, which is what we don't want to do. However, it is very possible we do so based on how tonight is gone. 2 cautions with overtime implications in this race already. And we've gone to the dozen mark of our yellow flags today. One lap to green now. Blake Cannon and Tom Wetmore are once again the front row here, and the advantage has been consistently with Cannon off of those launches. Let's see now whether or not Blake Cannon finds himself with one mistake, or if he can continue that consistency and bring it to victory lane. 2x2 all the way down the ladder. It is Cannon and Wetmore with one more chance. Vinny Tigner loses one spot to Michael Araya and falls to the outside, which might make the unpredictability factor of his potential win that much harder to achieve. Green flags out. 2 laps to go again. It's your first overtime and second green-white checkered run. Watch the mid-pack. No trouble off the launch. Braxton DeWeese, wiggly, big-time implications. He can't fall back, nor can he quit. He's now going to be there in 14th, trying to make up as much as he can in a lap and a half. Currently, Tom Wetmore is sitting pretty. Ronnie Osmer doesn't want to see that one succeed. 1 lap to go. Tom Wetmore still on the outside with Blake Cannon. The race for the win is still up for grabs. Wetmore has never won in the Ignite Series to this point, but he's now only half a mile away from doing so. Cannon with the inside. Tom Wetmore no longer getting down to the bottom. He'll take it top, look for a switchover. Blake Cannon drives up high. Tom Wetmore's got to run, but it won't be enough. Blake Cannon, with his 4th win of the season, finishes out the regular season a winner again. Just like that, Cannon is back in victory lane. And Matthew Thunhorst, with a 4th place finish, is your 2025 regular season champion. He'll win the honor for the 2nd time in his career over teammate Thomas Bressi. Roadhouse Racing finish 1st and 2nd tonight, with Cannon and Wetmore, the teammates, locking up the top 2 spots on the podium. Unbelievable day for the Roadhouse team, as Wetmore locks himself into the playoffs as well. Now to celebrate. Cannon starts and finishes 1st and converts the pole position to a raced victory tonight. It wasn't mandatory. It wasn't a do-or-die race for him, but I'm sure that he needed to get this momentum if he wants to go out there and fight for the championship. Blake Cannon leads 27 of 135 and clawed to get back to where he qualified, winning today from the Magic Mile. His teammate Tom Wetmore accompanies him and finishes 2nd, and it's going to be Roadhouse sweeping the podium, going positions 1 and 2, while Cody Smith finishes in 3rd. It's Matthew Thunhorst clinching the regular season title by finishing 4th. 5th is Vinny Tigner, 6th is Michael Araya, and 7th is Tyler Hensley, with Matt Sizzler, Sam Nieto, and Brent McClendon wrapping up the top 10. 11th place goes Justin Morton, with 12th and Jacob Fife, Braxton Deweese 13th. For those 2 drivers, standings are pending. We'll figure out who made it in as soon as possible. Kyle Cooper is 15th, with Jared Davis 16th. Will Reichert 17th, and Gael Brooks in 18th place. As Josh Gallagher rounds out the top 20, 21st is Steve Durham. 22nd is Casey Shue. 23rd, Nicholas Ward. With Jack Drucker then in 24th. Ryan Potter 25th. Andrew Shaw 26th. 27th, Andrew Hamilton. Ronnie Osmer 28th. And Ethan Lane 29th. Brandon Bernhardt, Hunter Madalenis, Blake Gordon, DJ Stagner, Nick Tarbuck, Josh Christman, Cal Filarski, and Boomer Logan all come through to wrap you up your 37-car grid. Your last regular season race in the Integrity Ignite Series, and Blake Cannon, he found a way tonight. For Roadhouse, not only, of course, a race win, but a 1-2 finish and huge strides in the last month and a half, Blake Cannon, to bring the momentum back to your team. A slump during the late spring months, but this summer stretch has been torrid, especially as of late. 4th win on the campaign. Blake, welcome back.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I wasn't expecting to be sitting here after early in the race, but just a hell of a way to bounce back. I'm just thrilled.
And you mentioned it right there. Of course, what it came down to was getting away from the early troubles you had. You, Ethan Lane, involved with an incident early, and the damage from those early troubles sent you all the way to the back of the field. The cautions definitely played to your favor. But what was it like taking a car you had to nurse the damage from up to the front?
It was extremely difficult, especially very early on. I had quite extensive damage, so it took a while to get it fixed, and I didn't want to burn a set of tires, even though I probably, I guess people would say, flat spot them, but I done wore them out by spinning, and I didn't want to waste a set, and then I really didn't have a whole lot of time to fix the damage, so I was behind the 8 ball a good part of the first quarter of the race.
And strategy, pretty easy to keep up with, perhaps compared to long green flag run with how far you were behind. Tires, got to talk about that. Humidity was high. Looked like the track temp wasn't all too much. You think the rubber played a big role in how you approached today?
I think so. I think there's a certain line or one or two things you could do to really be better than a lot of people. So obviously Ethan had that figured out, but the tires didn't wear out a whole lot. So I think it made the racing good. It was definitely a little bit harder to pass on occasion. So I thought the race was really good. Obviously, with the fuel being not a factor, it really didn't matter. So when cautions did fly after about 30 laps, 40 laps, it didn't matter to pit and use a set of tires. So made it easy on us tonight. Just glad that I was able to come back up front.
And this victory, of course, showing that you could make it happen no matter where you were on track, from pole position to damage and pit road to a victory, all the same. The playoffs are now here, the most important stretch of the season. You've got yourself lined up with a top 5 seed, and it all begins at Dover next week. It looks like this team has really been firing off all cylinders as a whole. What's it going to take to bring that again to Dover?
You just doing what I did tonight. I've had a rough patch on Monday nights where, just being too aggressive and not letting the race come to me and just making mistakes and, putting myself or others in bad positions. So tonight I didn't want to do that. I didn't really have a choice. After going to the back, I kind of had to, mind my P's and Q's and really, make a lot of smart passes. So I think that's what it's going to take. And I'm just glad we got some momentum going into the playoffs. That's the biggest thing. You never want to peak too soon. So, I'm thrilled with how we've been running, and as you can see, the whole team. So, congrats to Tom. I thought he was going to steal one from me there late, but I just want to shout out and say sorry to Ethan. He got into me early, but it was no hard feelings, and I definitely didn't want to see him get wrecked late in the race. I know there's a little bit of net code, but I hate it for him. He's definitely the one to beat every week. So, glad that me and him can run side by side a lot of the times and not even make contact. So, that's the biggest thing.
Blake Cannon leading a 1-2 finish for the Roadhouse Racing Enterprise tonight, and the 27 as its front man. Any final comments you'd like to send here?
Yeah, just shout out to Tom Wetmore. I mean, what a hell of a race and a hell of a finish. So, shout out to him. He makes all of this possible. So, I know we're missing John and Eric, but shout out to them as well. Shout out to everybody at Integrity Racing League, Boomer, Jacob, Cody, Don, all the admins for everything they do. They put up with a lot of BS, and they probably don't have to. So thanks to Boomer for coaching me as well. Thank you, David, for all that you do and sticking with us. And even when we have some technical difficulties, you're there. So, hopefully we'll have a good run at Dover next week.
Pole position, the quick time, and a race win. Blake Cannon checking off the boxes to end the regular season with the win from the Magic Mile. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I also want to shout out my wife.
With Blake Cannon on the way, we spoke to Tom Wetmore about 2 hours ago, but for a completely different reason. Early in the night, if you weren't with us, we had to swap over our session and condense the race ever so slightly just to get the ball rolling. But it looks like after all has been said and done, and some overtime finishes to extend the race, Tom Wetmore comes away with a much-needed second-place performance. First and second for the team, and a run like that after Texas, a huge bounce back to secure the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Really hated going from a DNF last week after we were just trying to manage our tires, do our stuff, but we left that in the dust and came out here to New Hampshire trying to chase ourselves a lobster, David.
And it looks like tonight the pace was there from beginning to end. You qualified 12th here, but very early found yourself in the top 5 battle. You and Ronnie Osmer were the ones that we were watching for that playoff bubble fight. You guys came in just above, and I'm sure you knew as well as anyone that you had to keep up there with Ronnie to begin with just to keep yourself on pace.
Yeah, I mean, this Tube Tech Toyota we unloaded, and New Hampshire just requires a lot of technique, and we were missing that into qualifying and to start the race. But we started picking off some cars, kind of learning how to run the bottom groove, manage our tires, be consistent, and keep these Goodyear tires on it. And we were able to both do a little bit of surviving some other drivers' mistakes, as well as pick up some pace on our own, which has us talking to you tonight. So it's super exciting for this Tube Tech Toyota and all the boys over it. Big Evil Designs that put an easel on it for Vex Vision to make this car look good. So, but I mean, you saw it tonight, Dave. Certainly a lot of cautions. I think there was a lot of guys trying to gun for those final spots. Like you mentioned, Ronnie and I kind of holding down the gatekeepers of the final playoff spots tonight with guys like, defending champion Braxton DeWeese. You have Nick Ward, Fife, all gunning for the 2 spots that we held. So fortunately, we had some decent track position all night, and with the protection of Robin Steele's attorney at law, we were able to keep this car clean until the end.
And this run is huge for the 69 team, of course. Best finish on the season, and Blake just told us it's all about peaking at the right time. Don't want to do it too early here, but it looks like the momentum is strong for both you and Blake as we head into Dover here. So what is the goal now set in mind for you for this opening round of the playoff picture?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting to look ahead. Dover is one of my favorite tracks with the Octane Series. I believe we have 3 wins there at Dover, so look forward to certainly being competitive and kind of moving ourselves farther along in the playoffs naturally. But, it's kind of fitting tonight. We finished P2, and a year ago we lost driver number 2, local legend and a guy that was an uncle to me. One of my dad's best friends passed away just a year ago tonight, and he ran an orange number 2. So it feels fitting to put this orange number 69, if on the podium, why not number 2, man? The only thing more fitting for him would have been a win. So hate to not get that, but to be there, launch ourselves, catapult ourselves into the playoffs, lock down some goods from Next Level Racing if we pull the championship together. A lot of momentum for this Roadhouse Motorsport team between myself and Blake. And naturally, Blake faced some adversity tonight. I'm sure he chatted about, but that young gun, Blake Cannon, man, he'll be a force to reckon with here as we go into these playoff brackets.
And now it's the home stretch. Best runs, I would say, of the season for Roadhouse as a whole. First and second, Tom Wetmer, you anchor it once again and lock into the playoffs. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate all you do, and we'll talk to you soon.
So, teammates first and second. Where did Cody Smith come from? Well, if you look at the grid, he qualified in 8th place, but it was a pretty quiet day for him relative to all those around. He escapes the trouble, and as you can see, we're playing back the footage right now. He was not on the second row with 20, or actually less than that, with less than 10 laps to go. Smith was still a few rows back, and yet making your way up there. You're still in the top 10 conversation just before we went to overtime, but Cody Smith, you pull away for third and make the most out of those last moments.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, kind of hung around the back half of the top 10 pretty much all race. I felt like I had really, really good long run speed, but the first 20 to 30 laps of a run, it was all I could do to hold the guys off and not lose 3 or 4 spots. So I was just kind of yo-yoing right around the back half of the top 10. Once I knew I was good on fuel, I had kind of made the decision that we're not coming back to pit road. So I gained some spots that way, gained a spot here and there on the restarts, and found myself, like you said, restarting on the second row. Thought maybe I might have a chance if the top 2 start battling, but that was a lot of fun, even though wish we'd have run a little more green flag, but it's part of it sometimes.
And a lot like the drivers you were surrounded by, last time you went to pit road was about give or take 50 laps before the race ended up concluding here. So it looks like you were around guys who were on the same set of rubber. Did you find yourself saving all too much in that case, or did you find yourself comfortable since everyone else was on the same level?
Yeah, I knew. I ran about a 70 lap run in practice, almost a full fuel run. So I'd figured out then that the tires pretty much stopped falling off. And then we kept having heat cycles. I knew those guys weren't going to be able to pass and get back through the field. So at that point, we just had what we had, and we were just racing it out. Very, 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 very tough to pass. I think that's part of the reason why you saw so many wrecks tonight. And cut line people trying to make the playoffs. So perfect storm, but I had fun. So I guess that's all that's really important, right?
And right about that, one of the best races the 18 teams pulled together, of course, but you have that win that made all the difference in locking the 18 team in. So, fighting for another championship, one more playoff run for the Ignite Series, and it means for you that you are ready to go back at it again in Dover. What is the game plan as we get it going one more time?
Yeah, love Dover. Really good track for me. I expect to be top 10, top 5 speed. We'll see if that pans out. We'll see what happens. Probably going to have to get a win or so to get through a couple of the later rounds, but we'll see if luck falls my way. I feel like we'll be there and have a shot at it. Obviously, Ethan and Blake have kind of been class of the field a lot of times, so. We'll try to take it to them. We'll give it all we have. Like you said, one last run at it. And yeah, if we lose, it won't be for lack of trying. I promise you that.
The floor is leveled. The playoffs are on. Cody Smith back in podium circle right before things get intense. For the 18 team, anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, just thank you for coming every week, Dave. It's awesome having these broadcasts. Thanks to Next Level Racing coming on board, Sim Motion, all the admin team. A lot of hard work goes into this league, and it's been awesome so far. So let's keep it going.
Cody Smith, third place all the night here for the Next Level Racing Chevrolet Camaro, wrapping up the podium. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dave.
And what a night it has been. Maybe a little bit longer than we anticipated, but a great finishing run. Third place for Cody Smith, and the teammates Tom Wetmore and Blake Cannon go second and first respectively as Roadhouse Racing wins another and collects their fourth in the Ignite Series. Cannon ends the regular season a winner. The playoff points are pending. Means it's suspense now. We don't know who's making it in officially to this point. We will let you know next Monday, live on FTN at the virtual Dover International Speedway, who will fight and who will be your top 15. Tune in with us next Monday, same time, same place on FTN Broadcasting. But until then, I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing the 21st race of the 2025 Ignite Series. Thank you to the Integrity Racing League for putting on the show. We'll be back tomorrow night with the Integrity Octane Series at Iowa Speedway. It'll be Alexander Balderas on the call to bring you through the last moments of the, of course, regular season run. Thank you for stopping by tonight. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Congratulations to Blake Cannon on his fourth win of the season. We hope you have a fantastic night.